Welcome everyone. Today we're diving into one of the most intense moments of tech operations, severity incidents. These are the moments where systems go down, customers are impacted, and every minute counts. To unpack what really happens behind the scenes, I'm joined by Yazri Saidin, an incident response analyst at ACFC. Yazri, thanks for being here.
Okay, thanks Rafa. I'm really glad to be here. So this is a topic that a lot of teams experience, but not many get a chance to talk about openly.
I completely agree. So Yazri, let's start simple. When people hear severity incidents, it almost sounds a bit dramatic. What actually makes an incident a severe one?
Okay, that's a good question because the term does sound dramatic from the outside. So in reality, an incident becomes a severity incident when there's confirmed impact to customers or critical business services, and time suddenly becomes a crucial factor. At that point, it's no longer just about fixing a bug or restarting a service. You are dealing with multiple stakeholders, incomplete information, and real consequences if decisions are delayed. So normal troubleshooting approaches tend to break down and the situation shifts into something that requires coordination, prioritization, and fast decision making across teams.
So it's really that moment when things shift from regular troubleshooting to something more serious and well coordinated. So let's say that moment happens. The alarm goes off and everyone knows that this is serious. What should the first steps look like?
So the very first thing that should happen is establishing control through structure. That means formally declaring the incident, setting a severity level, and appointing a single incident commander. Those steps might sound administrative, but they are incredibly important. In the early moments of an incident, there's usually a lot of noise, alerts firing, people joining calls, multiple theories being discussed. So having structure immediately reduces chaos and gives everyone clarity on how the response will be run.
Interesting. Why is having one commander so important?
Because when pressure is high, decision making can easily stall. So everyone has input, which is valuable, but without a clear owner, discussions can drag on or go in different directions. A single incident commander creates a clear authority for prioritization and decision making. So it doesn't mean others stop contributing. It means there's one person responsible for synthesizing information and moving the response forward. That clarity makes a huge difference when every minute counts.
That makes a lot of sense. So Yazri, from your experience, what's something the team learns early on when they start handling incidents like this?
Okay, one of the earliest lessons team learn is that speed doesn't come from doing more things at once. Early on, team tends to jump in enthusiastically, which is completely understandable. As teams mature, they realize that effectiveness comes from coordination, rule clarity, and knowing when to pause before acting. So mature teams learn to channel effort in a focused way rather than reacting to every signal at the same time.
Right, so it's not about fewer people working, but it's more about people knowing their roles and responsibilities and sticking to it. Another big part of incident is communication, especially with leadership and stakeholders. How do you usually manage that?
Okay, the key here is setting expectations early. We establish a clear update cadence so leadership knows when to expect information. That alone reduces anxiety. Each update stays focused on three things. First, what the impact is right now. Second, what actions are currently underway. And third, when the next update will come. So keeping communication structured prevents unnecessary back and forth and allows the response team to stay focused on recovery.
I like that. Simple and predictable updates instead of constant interruptions. Inside the response team, stress levels can get pretty high. What keeps things from falling apart?
Clarity is the biggest stabilizer. When people know exactly what their role is, they are less likely to feel overwhelmed. So we also try to keep communication simple and factual. Avoiding speculation and focusing on concrete actions help keep emotions in check. That discipline allows team to function effectively even when the pressure is intense.
Another challenge during incidents is that the information you have isn't always perfect. Data can be incomplete or messy. How do teams make technical decisions in that kind of environment?
So you have to accept early on that perfect information won't be available. Waiting for complete data often means waiting too long. Instead, we prioritize safe, reversible actions. Things like rolling back recent changes, disabling features, or isolating affected components. So these actions help stabilize the environment without committing to irreversible decisions. So once stability is restored, you can focus on the root cause analysis.
So speaking of root cause, engineers love solving the mystery as soon as they can. Is that ever a problem?
Yeah, it can be, especially during the active phase of an incident. So root cause analysis is important, but doing it too early can slow down recovery. So during an incident, the priority is service restoration. Once systems are stable and impact is reduced, that is when teams can step back, analyze thoroughly, and ensure long-term fixes are put in place.
That's a really important mindset shift. During these moments, communication must be constant. So from your experience, what does a good communication look like in the middle of an incident?
So good communication during an incident is clear, consistent, and repetitive. It sounds simple, but repetition is powerful under stress. By continuously communicating what we know, what we don't know, and what happens next, teams stay aligned and stakeholders stay informed. That consistency reduces confusion and keeps everyone focused on the same objective.
So Yazri, we've talked about systems and processes, but at the end of the day, these events are handled by people. How does this kind of pressure affect the responders?
Yeah, severity incidents can be mentally and physically draining. Responders are often working long hours, making high impact decisions under pressure, sometimes with very little rest. So that's why things like rotation planning, enforced rest periods, and post-incident recovery are so important. Sustainable incident response depends on taking care of the people, not just the systems.
That's a great reminder that resilience isn't always technical, it's human as well. So once the systems are stable and back online, is that a time when the team can finally relax?
Oh, not immediately. Restoration is a milestone, but it's not the end of the process. After service is restored, teams need to review what happened, identify gaps, and improve processes. That reflection is what turns a stressful incident into a valuable learning opportunity.
So the work shifts from recovery to learning. And what should a post-incident review focus on?
So a good review focuses on signals, decisions, and communication. So it looks at what worked, what didn't, and why. Most importantly, it should be done in a constructive and supportive way. The goal isn't to assign blame, but to strengthen the system and the team for the future.
That sounds like a really healthy way to approach it. So Yazri, before we wrap up, I have one final question for you. What do you think makes an incident response team strong?
Okay, preparation makes all the difference. Teams that train regularly, run simulations, and practice under realistic conditions develop confidence and trust. When a real incident happens, they don't freeze or panic. They rely on experience, communicate clearly, and execute calmly, even under extreme pressure.
So in the end, severity incidents aren't just technical failures.
Yeah, exactly. They are tests of people, process, and preparation.
Thank you so much, Yazri, for sharing your insights. And to everyone listening, thanks for tuning in.